You guys, I teased it before we went to break. I talked about some changes on the landscape, discussing the NBA media deal and some things that are going to be changing. I will say this: it is about the money, and we're about to talk about the money. We got Duke sports professor Ed Tiryakian joining us right now. What's going on, Ed? How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, E? What's up, Ed T? What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, Kmac, how are you? Pam, listen, you're
Yes,
a ray of sunshine. Doesn't mean you can't have a little shade, but you're a ray of sunshine.
I love that. That's right,
You're
Ed.
quite all right. You're quite all right.
Oh my goodness! Everybody got to call here and take over. You too, Ed.
And by the way, let me tell this to the relationship expert. She is a relationship expert. That's true.
Yeah.
And I'm the money expert, and I'm telling you, Rudy, you got to play. End the conversation.
Oh, okay, good.
Hey, so wait a minute. Wait. Wait.
I'm paying you $45 million. You're playing. We'll get to the hospital after the game.
Wow.
That's how it works.
Wow.
We never thought about that aspect.
I've been trying.
Well, you said it yesterday.
I've been trying to tell him,
interesting.
Ed. I've been trying to tell him, man.
Thank
Game
you.
7.
Thank you.
Game 7.
No, game 7. No, game 7 is different, though. Game
Wait
7,
a
I
minute.
get that.
Game 7, Game 6, Game 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're playing. I'm penning the check. You're playing.
Trust me.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Wow. But this guy has some experience. He's worked on all levels in sports and with agents and all that stuff. So he knows what he's talking about.
So you're gonna get in trouble. So are you saying that he should put just a mere thought of $45 million worth of money over his family? Ed, is that what you're saying?
45 mil. That's a lot of cabbage right there. I'm sorry.
But you're a father. You're a brand new father.
Yep. And you'll be a brand new father right after the game. That's how that works.
Wow. He's standing 10 toes down.
So anyway, let's get into the topic.
How that works.
That's pretty
How
good.
that works.
So Ed, I saw, of course, you're a sports professor from Duke and at Duke, and I know you tee up a lot of things, but you posted just some insight to what's going on with this new NBA media deals. $100 million, multi-million dollars a year.
A year. Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, it really is. I'm going to try to keep it thematic to you. So,
okay.
Think of it this way. Chuck was giving out those bicycles. I'm going to give out knowledge. This is how you think about things. Right now the media deal's $2.7 billion a year. That's what the NBA gets. They're just finishing up the agreements now to get $7 billion a year. You do the simple math. Right now that Steph Curry's making $56 million a year. You're not talking 100. You're talking about $120 million a year players starting basically 25, 26. They will be the highest paid athletes of any sport in the world. And that's just because to get to the relationship expert, think of it this way. When you're dating someone and it's not going well,
okay.
If you have no options, he or she still look okay because you have no options.
Right.
That's right.
If you got 4 or 5 people that you can choose from, you start to say, maybe I can do better.
Right.
And since I've been teaching sports business since 2011-12, and E and I go way back.
Yep.
So, I've watched his evolution. He's watched mine.
Yep.
But when we watched sports back in 2011, we watched it on NBC, CBS.
That's right.
ABC, ESPN, and Fox.
Yep.
Today, look how you consume sports. And by the way, it's not just linear, it's digital.
Yep.
And so Amazon is the digital package. NBC, ABC is the linear package. Hulu, think about all these places. And all of a sudden you go from 2 to 7 billion and suddenly players are making $100 million. It's supply and demand. It's having more suitors. You made a great comment about the portal. I mean, that's what the transfer portal is. It's not just no longer, because unfortunately I had 3 kids this semester who hit the portal. Great kids, by the way.
Okay.
Sean, who is Grant's nephew.
Oh, really? Sean,
Sean Stewart. Talked to him
I met his
last night.
dad. I met his dad in Norfolk, man. Yeah, and great guy, great family too, man. Yeah, okay.
Great family. Love Duke, but Ohio State comes calling. There's a little more cabbage involved with an NIL deal, and that's how it works. You have more suitors. That's exactly what you guys. That was your point, and you're spot on. This is what happens when an Amazon who prints money. They print more money than you can imagine.
Right.
They say, we just want to stream your stuff. We want that in-game tournament that you did this year. All of a sudden, there's a $2 billion deal from Amazon. So it's crazy how sports has sort of changed in terms of how live content is getting consumed. But it's a big change in the 10 years that I've been teaching this.
Wow. And, we just talking to you just briefly just then, you just mentioned the dawn of the $100 million athlete annually,
yes,
right? Which is pretty soon become the $1 billion athlete, but $100 million annually for some of these athletes. So just talk about the NBA. How does that change the expectation? You joked about, Rudy, I'm paying you $45, you got to play. How does that change the expectation of that $100 million athlete? Because everybody's not going to get 100. But how does that change the expectation of that athlete on that team and the expectations of that team?
Yeah, Kmac. So think about it this way. Next year, there'll be 15 players making $50 million plus. This is before the new deal.
Okay.
You guys were you kind of were hitting hard on my guy for the Clips. So the general manager for the Clips is a good friend of my class. He came and talked. He's a great guy, by the way.
Hey, tell him to come on the show because I got a question for him.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell him not to go on this show. I tell you what, he's gonna get roasted.
You right.
You're gonna have to come to my class to hear him. I can tell you that.
we can do that. Yeah.
He works for I'd love to have you guys in my class. He works for the richest owner in sports, and he's got a tough off season because the way these max contracts work with the Larry Bird exception, which we all know. You want Kawhi, you want Paul George because they're known commodities.
Yeah,
it's sort of like, and I think Pam can appreciate this, when you're dating a guy and I know what he does. I know how he's a known commodity. He might not be the most exciting guy, but I know what he's good for.
How did you know?
I just know, Pam. Pam, I know. Believe me, I know. I've been that dependable guy. That's how I know.
He said I've been that guy.
Yeah, you so good.
I'm just playing.
That's funny.
But that's what happens. I know this guy. I know Kawhi is a good 2010 guy. I know he's moody. I know he frowns a lot, but he's a 2010 guy.
True.
And so I've got to offer him a max contract, or else someone's going to put together a super team, which is what they tried to do this year. And when you have the richest owner in sports, then it makes it easier to sort of pay those luxury taxes. But that $100 million man, Kmac, that is not just going to be one. It's probably going to be 15 to 20.
That's amazing.
Let me tell you the thing to think about. Not the $100 million guy. It's the average NBA salary. When you go 1 through 15 on the bench, it's going to be about $20 million a year. That's
so
Ed,
that's a good point. We're talking to Duke professor, sports professor Ed T. So, what's the current minimum salary right now for the NBA? Remember,
$1.2 million. That's what it is.
So,
that will go to at least 2.5.
So that's where LeBron, because they're gonna put him on the team. He can't play in the NBA, but Bronny gonna get 1.2 million.
Wait a minute. Which also means with the CBA, if you could just hang in there for about 5 to 8 years, you can team.
That's exactly right.
Oh,
my God. CBA says the players get 51% of all BRI, basketball-related income, and not to get into the weeds, but the minimum salary will go to 2.5. The average player will make 20. And you remember back in the day, fellas. I mean, what was Michael making? Michael was making a lot of dough, but $20 million a year. Not that. See, it's a new era.
Yeah, speaking of new era, I just thought about it. Just think of the evolution. This is where it works. You take your son and work him out. You make sure you get a good game, get a decent scholarship, but you can get NIL, so you can pay like in high school or as a freshman, then obviously you're lucky to get to the NBA. At a minimum salary, you're gonna be straight. Yeah, doing the thing the rest of your life.
I'm gonna give all of you a player right now. Think about in 3 years we'll be making $50+ million. Buddy Hield.
If you hang around,
if you can hang out in there.
50+.
That's it, Kmac. That's exactly
Think
right.
about that.
That's amazing, though. And he had one good game in the playoffs.
That's what the number 2 option is going to make. You know, you talked about NIL. This year I had a class. It was about 91 kids. I had 6 basketball players, 7 or 8 football players.
Yeah.
And just in case you're wondering, they all did very well. They're all academically eligible. So Ed T takes care of his own. But think about this. The class I asked them first class, how many people in this class have an NIL deal? 42 kids raised their hand. It wasn't football and basketball. It was soccer, track and field.
Wow.
Yeah. This NIL thing is big. It's real, and it's a new way to recruit. I mean, this is as you guys have probably talked about ad nauseum. But this is what's changing. These players are getting paid much earlier, much more than we ever thought they could.
Wow. So Ed T, I had one question. We talked about how this impacts the players, but how does it impact the overall media landscape and how we watch? Is this all the why being because of the demand for, live broadcast and being able to see it in different places? So how does it change where we're going to be watching the live sports?
Great question, Pam. So that is what's changed. So as you get younger down the spectrum, and this is not for the Ed T's of the world, but as you get into the 20s and the 30s and the Gen Z, Gen X, they stream everything. Mm-hmm. Nobody watches cable. We all know that they're cutting the cord, but it's not just that they're cutting the cord. They are finding these sort of adoptive packages. So even if you're Snap or you are X or you are DAZN, that's all you want to do. You just want to stream sports, which offers up for the sports leagues. It's a whole new sort of revenue source that you didn't even think about. Which is my streaming rights, sure, because I know the networks are paying out the what for the broadcast rights. And one thing I'll say real quick is, there's a very famous statistic that we have in sports business, which is of the 100 most watched shows last year, 97 were sports, and it's a real simple formula. My friend was the producer of Law and Order, and he's done a lot of shows. It takes about $20 million to do one episode of a show, and just multiply that by 20. Would I rather have a show that might get might be a hit, might not, or do I want the NBA with LeBron? Do I want the NFL? The most watched sports league in the world. Mm-hmm. I'll take live sports, live content every time. And the networks have all come to realize that. That's why they're all showing up. That's why it's not the relationship expert, not just one person knocking at the door. There's 5 or 6.
They coming.
I
got a corsage for you. Let's go. So,
that is so cool.
That's what's happening.
But man,
wow.
so here's the issue I got. The next time you come on, and you got to come on more often to talk about sports, you got to do it in studio.
Yes.
Matter of fact, you got to get your own segment going because, man, all this stuff, what you just talked about in the last 10 or whatever minutes, that's like 5 or 6 different topics that we can run with Ed T. So you got to make sure you give us some love, man. Come back on more often.
I would love to.
All right.
I would love to. I'll just say this, guys. It's been about a year or so since I've been on the show. And I was going to come on sooner, but I was just waiting for Duke to beat Carolina in hoops. It just didn't happen last year. So
you might want to come on in sooner.
Wait it out.
Yeah. Well, Ed, don't worry. Looks like you're going to be a fixture on the show next year.
I want to say though.
That hurts.
Hey, here's the thing. Though. I would say this though. You guys got, in my opinion, I think you guys got a guy coming in that his number is going to be hanging from the Raptors or something. Even though he's only going to stay a year, maybe that won't happen. I think Cooper Flagg is special, though, man. I think he's really special.
And tell him we don't need that from no Tar Heel. We don't need that from the Tar Heels.
No, I'm just telling you. I've heard he is like the reincarnation of Larry Bird.
Yeah,
and let me tell you. Let me just make sure you understand this. when August 31st rolls around and I'm in the auditorium looking up at him, he's going to do really well in my class. I'm pretty sure of that.
My man, that is the Duke sports professor, Ed T. Be blessed, my brother. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you.
Take care, you Trey.
All right, take care.
Good. I love you.
I love you. That was good stuff there, man.
Wow.